জাগমালোহা দাক্ষিণী তাই চাঁদ ভাঙে গদাধার নিকটে আদৈতাসিনী বাস ছাত্রাধার বাসে আছে গোরাচাঁদ রত্ন সিংহাসনী আরতি করে ব্রহ্মা আদি দেবগণী নারাহারি আরে আদি করে আমার ঢোলায় সঞ্জয় মুকুন্দ বাসু ঘোষাদি গায় শঙ্খ বাজে ঘন্টা বাজে বাজে করতা মধুরা মৃদঙ্গ বাজে পরমরসা শঙ্খ বাজে ঘন্টা বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে গৌরাঙ্গের আরতির বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল গৌরা হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল বহু কোটি চন্দ্রদিনী বদন গলরে সেবনমালা পারে জ্বালা শিবা সুখ নারদ দেবে গদা গদ লোকতি দেখে গোরার সম্পদ জয় জয় গোরা চলে আরতি কোশ জানবে তাজবাণী জাগমানালো গৌরাঙ্গের আরতি শোভা জগজনালো গৌরাঙ্গের আরতি শোভা জগজনালোভা জগজনমনলোভা জগজনমনলোভা নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল। Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Jaya Pataka Swamite Namini Namo Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayini Guru Katha Dhammadaya Nagar Namatari Nam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamite Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Rasarini Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Kasata Desatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami, Nayana Pathagami Bhavatumi, Nilachala Chandra Swami Jagana, Nilachala Madhava Pyare Jagannath, 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 Darshan Sundar Pyare Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra, Jai Satinanda, Gaurahari, Vishnu Priyamana Dhananade Hari Hari, Gaura 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 Hari, Patita Pavana Gaura Hari. Jai Tai Chan, Jai Tai Chan, Jai Tai Chan, Chakradham, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda Radhe, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe, Radha Ramano, Radha Ramano Radhe, Giriraj Maharaj, Giriraj Maharaj, Giriraj Maharaj, Jaya Giriraj Maharaj, Srimad Sudan, Srimad Sudan, Srimad Sudan, Jaya Srimad Sudan, Mani Ma Jaya, Mani Ma, Mani Ma Jaya, Mani Ma, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, Jaya Guru Maharaj, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Jai Ho.
Who's going to do it?
Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Sri Srimad Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Maharaj. Pranab Prabhu started. Oh, Pranab Prabhu started. Pranab Prabhu, you can continue, please. Pranab Prabhu.
नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस कचार अष्टोदि वांगे ऐसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवार का आचार्य अष्टोदि वांगे भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम सको श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। गंगा माँ यमुना माँ की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। प्यारे सचरण निताय चांद के जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया की जय। राधा माधव की जय। राधा गोकुल नंद जी की जय। सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय। गिरिराज गोवर्धन जी की जय। मधुसूदन महाराज की जय। मानवा महाराज की जय। पंचतत्व की जय। नरसिंह भक्तुलाद महाराज की जय। पंचतत्व की जय। वृंदावन धाम मधुर धाम राजधाम मायापुर धाम आयुष्यपुर धाम एक चक्रधाम त्रिभुधाम मंगल गिरि धाम की जय। श्रीमद भगवद गीता श्रीमद भागवतम चेतामु से रामायण की जय। इस्कॉन कॉमेंट्री यात्रा की जय। इस्कॉन वर्ल्ड वाइड यात्रा की जय। एकादशी माता की जय। हिजोल जय बताक स्वामी महाराज व्यास पूजा महोत्सव की जय। हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Welcome everyone for evening program. Today is a special day. His Holiness Jai Patak Swami Maharaj Vyas Puja Day. And for Narsinga prayers, we pray to Lord Narsinga Dev to give peace to the departed soul, His Grace Akinchan Das, His Grace Payonidhi Das, and we remember ISKCON Gurus, His Holiness Jai Patak Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Jai Gopal Krishna Swami Maharaj, and the many other ISKCON Gurus and leaders suffering around the world, and all their care teams. We especially remember Jyoti Malhan, Vinod Manjari Mataji, Sudesh Kholar, Bhaktin Rita Lesta, Rita Vadgama's mother, Premanjari Mataji, Shadare Mataji, Srimati Mataji, Premalan, Shanti Ben Sholanki, Chiguru Srinivas, Gaurahari Prabhu and his mother, John Prabhu, Devendra Prabhu, Kishore Bhai Thakrar, Daniel House, many other devotees and members who recently tested positive for COVID, many other devotees suffering around the world. We also remember the victims of Russia and Ukraine war and for the general well-being of the whole world. Jai Narsingadev.
Namaste Narasimhaya. ये रङ्गाकुशे पूर्वक्षः शिवाटङ्कानाखालयि ईशानसिंह अर्हतो नरसिंहा सकलकलामे चतुरसिंहा Mahinasimha Hirayenasima Darasimhamadim Saranam Prapadi Avagara Kamala Varena Kamadhuta Singam Dalita Hiranakashipu Anuvindam केशवाजितानरहरि रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंह हरे नरसिंह हरे Narsimhari Raya Narsimhari Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prabhupada 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 Gurudev 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 हरि बोल। जय नरसिंह भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, बोल हरि बोल।
हरि हरि बोल। जय हो पुजारी देव, अति सुंदर आज व्यास पूजा है और एकादशी भी है, बहुत सजाया और बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। धन्यवाद। Please accept our humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhya kripa sindhubhya vachapatitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. So before we do the Vyas Puja ceremony, we would like to read the Katha. I'd just like to ask Patna Pavan if he's able to read. Hold on a second. Patna Pavan Prabhu, you have sponsored the Bhoga for tonight for your Pitashri. I'm just wondering whether you would like to read the Katha. If not, would you be able to read?
Oh, okay. I just need to open it up because I haven't opened it.
Oh, I can do it on the screen. Pranava Prabhu, if you just say, if you go to ISKCON Countries, Kamada Kadashi, is designed. If you put it up, then Patapavan can read it, yes.
Can you see, Prabhu, my screen?
Haribol?
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see your
That's the
screen.
one. That's the one, yeah. Okay, that's good.
Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Sutta Goswami said, O sages, let me offer my humble and respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Hari, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, by whose mercy I can describe the fast day that removes all kinds of sins. It was to the devoted Yudhishthira that Lord Krishna glorified the 24 primary Ekadashis which destroy sin, and now I shall recount one of those narrations to you. Great learned sages have selected these 24 narrations from the 18 Puranas, for they are truly sublime. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, O Lord Krishna, O Vasudeva, please accept my humble obeisances. Please describe to me the Ekadashi that occurs during the light part of the month of Chaitra, March, April. What is its name and what are its glories? Lord Shri Krishna replied, O Yudhishthira, please listen to me attentively as I relate the ancient history of this sacred Ekadashi. A history Vashishta Muni once related to King Dilipa, the great-grandfather of Lord Ramchandra. King Dilipa asked the great sage Vashishta, O wise Brahman, I wish to hear about the Ekadashi that occurs during the light part of the month of Chaitra. Please describe it to me. Vashishta Muni replied, O king, your inquiry is glorious. Gladly shall I tell you what you wish to know. The Ekadashi that occurs during the light fortnight of Chaitra is named Kamada Ekadashi. It consumes all sins. As a forest fire consumes a supply of dry firewood, it is very purifying, and it bestows the highest merit upon one who faithfully observes it. O king, Now here an ancient history which is so meritorious that it removes all one's sins simply by being heard. Once, long ago, there existed a city-state named Ratnapur, which was decorated with gold and jewels, and in which sharp-fanged snakes would enjoy intoxication. King Pundraka was the ruler of this most beautiful kingdom, which numbered many Gandharvas, Kinnaras, and Apsaras among its citizens. Among the Gandharvas were Lalit and his wife Lalita, who was an especially lovely dancer. These two were intensely attracted to each other, and their home was full of great wealth and fine food. Lalita loved her husband dearly, and likewise Lalit constantly thought of her within his heart. Once at the court of King Pundraka, many Gandharvas were dancing, and Lalit was singing alone without his wife. He could not help thinking about her as he sang, and because of this distraction he lost track of the song's meter and melody. Indeed, Lalit sang the ending of his song improperly, and one of the envious snakes who was in attendance at the king's court complained to the king that Lalit was absorbed in thinking of his wife instead of his sovereign. The king became furious upon hearing this, and his eyes turned crimson with rage. Suddenly he shouted, "O foolish, naive! Because you were lustfully thinking of a woman instead of reverently thinking of your king as you performed your court duties, I curse you at once become a cannibal." O king, Lalit immediately became a fearful cannibal, a great man-eating demon whose appearance terrified everyone. His arms were 8 miles long, his mouth was as big as a huge cave, his eyes were as awesome as the sun and moon, his nostrils resembled enormous pits in the earth, his neck was a veritable mountain, his hips were 4 miles wide, and his gigantic body stood a full 64 miles high. Thus, poor Lalit, the loving Gandharva singer, had to suffer the reaction of his offence against King Pundraka. Seeing her husband suffering as a horrible cannibal, Lalita became overwhelmed with grief. She thought, now that my dear husband is suffering the effects of the king's curse, what is to be my lot? What should I do? Where should I go? In this way, Lalit grieved day and night. Instead of enjoying life as a Gandharva's wife, she had to wander everywhere in the thick jungle with her monstrous husband, who had fallen completely under the spell of the king's curse and was wholly engaged in terrible sinful activities. He wandered fitfully across forbidding region, a once beautiful Gandharva now reduced to the ghastly behavior of a man-eater. Utterly distraught to see her dear husband suffer so much in this dreadful condition, Lalita began to cry as she followed his mad journeying. By good fortune, however, Lalita came upon the sage Shringi one day. He was sitting on the peak of the famous Vindhyachala hill. Approaching him, she immediately offered the ecstatic her respectful obeisances. The sage noticed her bowing down before him and said, "O most beautiful one, who are you? Whose daughter are you? And why have you come here? Please tell me everything in truth. Lalita replied, O great sage, I am the daughter of the great Gandharva Vrihadanva, and my name is Lalita. I roam the forests and plains with my dear husband, whom King Pundrika has cursed to become a man-eating demon. O Brahman, I am gratefully aggrieved to see his ferocious form and terribly sinful activities. O Master, please tell me how I can perform some act of atonement on behalf of my husband. What pious act can I perform to free him from this demonic form, O best of Brahmanas? The sage replied, O heavenly maiden, there is an Ekadashi named Kamada that occurs in the light fortnight of the month of Chaitra. It is coming upon soon. Whoever fasts on this day has all his desires fulfilled. If you observe this Ekadashi fast according to its rules and regulations and give the merit you thus earn to your husband, he will be freed from the curse at once. Lalita was overjoyed to hear these words from the sage. Lalita faithfully observed the fast of Kamada Ekadashi according to the instructions of the sage Shringi, and on Devadashi she appeared before him and the deity of Lord Vasudeva and said, I have faithfully observed the fast of Kamada Ekadashi. By the merit earned through my observance of this fast, let my husband be free from the curse that has turned him into a demoniac cannibal. May the merit I have gained thus free him from misery. As soon as Lalita finished speaking, her husband, who stood nearby, was at once freed from the king's curse. He immediately regained his original form as a Gandharva Lalit, a handsome heavenly singer, adorned with many beautiful ornaments. Now with his wife Lalita, he could enjoy even more opulence than before. All this was accomplished by the power and glory of Kamada Ekadashi. At last the Gandharva couple boarded a celestial aeroplane and ascended to heaven. Lord Sri Krishna continued, O Yudhishthira, best of kings, anyone who hears this wonderful narration should certainly observe holy Kamada Ekadashi to the best of his ability. Such great merit does it bestow upon the faithful devotee. I have therefore described its glories to you for the benefit of all humanity. There is no better Ekadashi than Kamada Ekadashi. It can eradicate even the sin of killing a Brahman, and it also nullifies demoniac curses and cleanses the consciousness. In all the three worlds, among movable and immovable living entities, there is no better day. Jai Shri Kamada Ekadashi ki Jai.
Jai ho. Jai ho. Jai ho. Okay, somebody mute. Is that Diksha? Okay, right. That was wonderful, Patapavan Prabhu. So today you sponsored the Bhoga, so that's your father's birthday.
Sorry, Prabhu.
Is it your father's appearance day today, or?
No, he departed on this day.
Departed.
Jai Ho.
So thank you very much, and thanks for reading.